Hey everybody, Daniel here from Basement Tech. I recently attended the Orlando Hamcation Mega Hamfest, and I wanted to do three things in this video. One, just give you some impressions about that Hamfest. Two, give you some good do's and don'ts in Hamfest. And three, show you the bargains I got. Well, it was definitely a big Hamfest as advertised, probably somewhere in the range of 1/3 to 1/2, probably closer to a third of the Dayton Mega Hamfest, which is still the big daddy of Hamfests. 75% of it was probably outdoor flea market, kind of like Dayton's big parking lot flea market. But there were several buildings, one of which was indoor flea market, which was, I guess, for those who didn't want to be out in the sun in case it got hot or maybe rain. And the other building was a more, professional vendor, ICOM and Yaesu and all the big daddies were there inside. It was definitely a destination for campers. There were probably over 100 campers in the camping area, which was immediately adjacent or intertwined with the flea market area, which made it really nice just to walk from the vehicle to the Hamfest without having to travel on shuttles or any of that sort of thing. Very pleasant Hamfest all the way around, and I'm glad we made the trip. All right, well, let's get this unboxing started. I originally thought I'd go through each and every item, but there are a lot of items, and I think that will become tedious for both you and me. So rather, I'll just pan through all of the items that I got at the Hamfest and come back for a few stories that highlight important points about Hamfests. If you do have specific questions about any one of these items, just post those questions in the comments, and I will be thrilled to answer them for you. You can see it is quite a variety of stuff, a lot of parts this time, but also a lot of just fun goodies. So let's go all the way back to where we started over here. Wire is always a bargain to be found at Hamfests. You do have to search carefully. Some sellers try to get retail price, but in this case, that 500 is $5 for nearly 500 feet of 18-2 foil shielded instrumentation cable. A good bargain, and I use an awful lot of that. Next to it is some solar panel cable that I also got for a similar price. Going to this box, which is one point to be made. This is a box of used heavy-duty contactors for big three-phase motors. Those of you who watch the channel know that I get into some of this kind of thing in some of the consulting I do for artisans. If you look closely, you'll see some very costly items like these plugs, for example. If they were to be bought retail, I think that might be about a $25 to $50 plug. Originally, the seller was asking $100 for this box of stuff, and that was just a little too much for my blood for something that's used. But in the end, I got this entire box just by offering $20 because the seller didn't want to have to cart this heavy box of stuff home with him. So several three-phase contactors, several very large magnetic breakers, those plugs, and other miscellaneous things. Do note it's all used, and that's the chance you take, but I'll test that out and maybe that will be something useful. Over here, perhaps the bargain of the Hamfest and maybe the year. If you look closely, each one of these little bags contains an ESP32 module. These were in a box, and this is the second point. Sometimes you have to dig and look and into those boxes that say $1 anything in this box. Yeah, I got each of these ESP32 boards for $1, and underneath is an ESP development board, which has a display and a lot of other auxiliary chips on there for $8. So that was really quite the bargain at this Hamfest. Let's see, there was one other point I wanted to make. Another point to be made is there are sometimes items that you buy just for availability, and sellers know exactly what they're worth, and that's what you should expect to pay. These are 12 AX7 vacuum tubes. Everybody at the fest knew that these were valuable items. These two were $10 each, which was still quite a bargain. But the point here to be made is sometimes you buy items for availability because they're hard to find in other places. So finally, this story. This is a graphics card for a gaming computer. I had built up, a little while ago, a really fun gaming computer. I'm not a gamer, but this was a lot of fun, and maybe I hope to be a gamer someday. So this is a really fun gaming computer I built up basically from parts that people had generously given me over the years, but it didn't have a graphics card. So I went searching. I didn't want like the most high-end because I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and was hoping to find one that somebody had upgraded from, and that's exactly what happened. However, this one here in the package is a 400 series GTX graphics card, about 1.25 gig of memory, and I got this one for $25, which was probably not a bad price. But then just in searching out in the flea market area, in the tables that were maybe not so organized, I found the one that's in here. This one is a 2 gig, a 600 series graphics card for, ready, $10. So the point again is sometimes you have to dig and search and be patient. So I ended up with 2 graphics cards instead of 1, but I think both were priced about right for what I ended up getting. Well, there you have it, Hamcation in Orlando 2022. Lots of good things were there, and I hope I've convinced you that there are some good bargains to be found at Hamfests. A few points to be reiterated. Number one, don't be afraid to dig into the bottom of some of those boxes. A lot of times the best bargains are found down there. Number two, everything is used, so buyer beware. Number three, never be afraid to make an offer, even if it's a low one. Some sellers will get a little bit agitated, but that's all part of the game. But a lot of the time, they'll be happy to accept your offer just to make their junk your junk. Finally, you do have to do some research and kind of know basic ballpark pricing of the things you intend to buy, so you know what kind of offers to make and what's really a pretty good deal. As I mentioned at the top of the video, if you have questions about any of the specific items that you saw as I panned through, please post those questions in the comments below. Similarly, if you have any questions about this Hamfest or any Hamfests in general, please post those questions below as well. Also, as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really, really like it, subscribe and punch that button that says, please let me know when new videos appear. Thanks. Talk to you next time.